Hello friends, I want to welcome you to another 3ABN Today cooking show. My name is Jill Morricone and I have an exciting guest here all the way from Massachusetts, and that's a special place for me because I used to live there before I married Greg and moved here to 3ABN. His name is Rob Beaton and we want to welcome you, Rob.
Thank you for inviting me. I feel it's an honor and a privilege to be here today.
Yes, we've been so excited about this program, and you are the food service director, correct? There at Atlantic Union College?
Mm-hmm. At Atlantic Union College.
And you also you run a vegan culinary program.
Correct.
And
Vegan Culinary Arts Institute there at Atlantic Union College.
That's right. And I believe it is the only, is that correct? The only vegan culinary
certified program in the United States. Yes.
That's right. And that's wonderful. So no matter where you live, if you're interested, we'll give you the contact information at the end of the program. You can get in touch with AUC. That's really exciting.
Yes.
Yeah. Tell us what the program entails, what it involves.
Well, we have several curriculums that we work from. We talk about quantitative food prep that will be demonstrating to the young people where they get their knife skills and the basics and sauces like bechamels and the roux and everything. It's the basics for every good sauce.
Explain those to us.
Well,
briefly.
Bechamel is just a plain white sauce that is made, and you can put it. It's very versatile. You can use it in lots of different things like lasagnas and things. And then there's a white sauce that is the base of every fine sauce.
Okay,
soup,
that's a fancy name for it.
It's a French name.
I just call it a white sauce, so that's pretty cool.
It's a French name.
Okay. And what was the other sauce you said?
Roux. It's not really a sauce. It's just fat and flour.
Oh,
and then you can mix water or broth or milk or anything like that with it.
Yeah, but you do the soy milk and all of that type of stuff because you're doing the vegan program,
We're doing absolutely vegan.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yes.
Okay, now what was your training before you came to Atlantic Union College?
Well, I'm a baker by trade. That's what I've been doing all my life.
Yes.
I found a passion early on. My first job was at Yum Yum Donuts in Southern California. And then I joined the United States Navy, and then they sent me to culinary school.
Okay.
And then aboard the submarines for about 8 years.
Ooh,
and then I had a wife and 2 children. And then it lost its adventure, and then I have the adventure of raising 2 children.
That's special. And you got 4 kids now, right?
I have 4. I've adopted 2 more now.
Yes, that's pretty special. And they're all students at AUC right now.
Correct. And my wife, too. All full-time students. Yes.
You got 5 people you're trying to put in school right now.
Yeah, pray for me. I need
that's right. Now, right now, we are doing breads and stuff. That's what the whole program is going to be. So we want to invite you to grab a pad of paper and a pen, pencil to jot down those recipes because I'm real excited. We're going to learn tips from the baker today, so I'm excited. Let's look, Rob, at the recipes we're going to make today.
Okay, great.
How's that? What's the first one here?
Whole wheat bread.
Oh, that sounds good.
It is good.
And you can do so many different options with that, too. Rolls and different things,
Dinner rolls, and with some slight deviations, you can make other products out of it, like French bread, things like that.
That's awesome. What's next?
Whole wheat pizza crust is what we're going to be doing. We'll be sampling some of that later.
That pizza looks so good. I can't wait to try it. Oh, and my favorite.
Danishes.
Ooh.
You know, I like about the Danish is the students there at AUC, they don't like tofu. And I'll say, do you like tofu? And they'll say, no, I hate tofu. And I say, well, enjoy the Danish.
Right. Okay,
so we'll talk about that.
It has a special fruit filling and other fillings in it we're going to talk about.
Correct.
I'm excited about this.
All right,
and I can't wait to try to sample these recipes and to eat them too, and I'm sure you can't wait either.
Right.
But first, let's go to our very first recipe, and let's read that recipe for the bread. For the whole wheat bread, you need 7 tablespoons applesauce, 6 teaspoons vital wheat gluten, 2 teaspoons salt, 5 1/4 cup whole wheat flour, 2 2/3 cup water, and 2 tablespoons of instant dried yeast. That's all you put in it, Rob?
That's all we need. Those are the basics of any good bread.
Boy, that's easy.
It's easy.
That means you guys at home can make it too, and I can make it, right?
It's cheap, too.
That's a blessing. We're all for that with the economy right now.
Exactly. Everybody should be, you can make it more nutritious, and you can make it a lot more economically at home.
Yes, that's right.
A lot of people are afraid of making bread, but there's no reason to do that. Bread can be made very easily at home, and it's especially warm and stuff. In fact, I have a tip. If you're ever trying to sell a house, some people are trying to sell a house, make a loaf of bread.
I like that.
Mothers, ladies come in and they say, smells like home.
Yeah,
this is
right,
home.
right,
And then so you got to attack all the senses. Bread, they say, ask a realtor, they'll tell you.
Yeah, that's right, because it makes it smell so good. It
Right.
makes you feel at home and comfortable. That's right. Now, give us some tips here.
Okay.
Talk to us some about the
The
bread.
first tip, you know, and I think one of the important things about making bread is a lot of people are afraid of bread because I think enough people out there watching today know enough to know that if they had a recipe and I had a recipe, if they do the exact same thing and I do the exact same thing, you can come up with some pretty varied end products. And so today, this show is not so much about recipes, because recipes are a dime a dozen. You can get them off the internet, cookbooks, libraries, you can get them everywhere.
Right.
So we want to talk about principles of what makes bread turn out the way it does.
Oh, good.
The chief principle is
Yes.
flour.
Okay.
Now, there's three basic components of flour.
Okay.
There's the bran.
And we have a graphic of this, I believe.
We do.
So you guys can look at that graphic too. Okay.
So we have the wheat kernel is comprised of bran,
Okay.
the endosperm, which is the middle of it,
Yes.
and then we have the wheat germ. Now, in white bread, what they've done is they've stripped away the bran,
Okay.
and they've stripped away, when they've stripped away the bran, they've stripped away the germ. Now, God placed in that wheat kernel about 26 to 28 vitamins and minerals.
Wow.
And
That's a lot in one wheat kernel.
one wheat kernel.
That's a
And so what happens is back in the 1800s, early 1900s, when moms started going to support the war effort, and bakers started doing it en masse, they started stripping away the bran because they realized that there was not a whole lot of nutritional value in the bran. And so if there's no bran in it, I'm sorry, if there's no nutrition in the bran, why do we need it? So then they got rid of it, and in doing that, they got rid of the germ.
So if there is no nutritional value, why do we need it?
Because it's the broom of the body.
It's got the fiber.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so if you don't have fiber, your GI tract is going to get all clogged up with all kinds of
messed up.
stuff.
That's right.
So in the endosperm, it has about 3 to 5 vitamins and minerals. In the bran, it has maybe 1 or 2. The powerhouse is in the germ.
Wow.
So what happened is they took away the bran, they took away the germ, they had the endosperm left, so they're down to 3 or 5 vitamins and minerals when God started off with 25 to 28.
That's a lot. That's right.
So they took it away, and then what happened was they then they figured out that if they bleached it, it would turn it white.
Yes.
And when they bleached it, they took out the rest.
Right.
So Webster's defines foods as anything that has nutritional value for the body.
Okay.
White bleached flour is not a food, as the dictionary defines it. So
I never would have thought of that, you guys. That's pretty amazing.
So it's not food.
Yes.
So, and then the government stepped in, and they realized in the early 1900s that a lot of people were starving to death with all the bread that they could eat because it was nutritionally deficit.
Right.
And they said, well, this can't happen in the United States of America. And so they demanded, and they did what only the government could do. They enriched the flour.
That's why you see the enriched breads.
Right. So they take out 25 to 28, and then they enrich it with 8.
Okay.
Now that's up to 9 because they added folic acid, I think, in 2003.
Okay.
So we're up to 9.
Yeah.
But so we at the Vegan Culinary Institute
There at AUC.
at
Community
AUC,
College.
we like to go with the whole thing. Just as God made it, we like to use it that way.
Yes.
And
Now,
so we have the bran, the germ, and the endosperm.
okay. Now tell me, there's different types of flour because I know there's hard, there's soft,
Correct.
what's the best type for bread?
Well, the best for the consumer here in the United States, the best kind to get is just it's labeled for bread for home use. The difference is in the protein content.
Okay.
The higher the protein, typically the stronger is the flour. Now, if you're making a cake, you don't really want to use bread flour because it's too strong.
Yes.
And we have to develop this in the mixer. We have to develop the gluten and stretch it and pull it.
Important. Yes.
And when we stretch it and pull it, it's making it tougher and tougher. And if we use cake flour, it would just break down the flour. And so we want to use a higher protein flour. So cake flour or pastry flour, if I use cake flour for bread, it would not be able to hold the yeast because it would break down. And likewise, a cookie would be a good hockey puck if I use bread flour to make cookies with.
Because it'd be super hard.
It would be super hard.
Right.
It'd be super strong.
So just for my simple brain here,
Okay.
if we're making bread, the best flours for you guys at home, our friends at home, to use would be just plain old whole wheat flour.
Whole wheat, but see
Not
that it's
pastry,
designated for
not any
bread
cake,
flour.
Not any.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
Normally what happens in the growing cycle, and we don't have time to really go into
Right.
have a big
Right.
baking
We got to get
class.
making this bread.
Right.
Right.
Is it has to have a cold snap in the middle of its growing cycle. So it's usually winter red that is used as bread
red.
flour.
Winter?
Winter red.
Winter red, okay.
And it needs that cold snap. So most of our bread flour is grown in North Dakota, South Dakota, even up in Canada.
Yes, okay.
And flour that is grown more south towards
Right.
Tennessee, Florida, Texas, and those warmer areas is typically softer flours.
Okay,
And softer
okay.
flours are not good for making bread.
Right. Now, depending on where you live, what country you live in, it may be obviously a different part of your country for that, too, because we have an international audience here.
Correct.
Now, you said flour was important. You said something about water you had mentioned to me before the program.
Water is also very important. We like to use hard water for making bread. And when I mean hard water, I mean about 200 to 250 parts per million as far as trace elements, minerals, and from the ground.
We're getting scientific here.
We are. It's a science. It's an art and a science.
It is. That's right.
And so it's very important to have hard water. How do you know if you have hard water?
You can get it tested?
You can get it tested, yes. A good indication is if you go out and wash your car and then you don't dry it with a towel and it leaves spots all over it, you have hard water.
Oh, then we got hard water. Yeah.
And hard water is
Okay.
the best to use. It's terrible for using for cooking vegetables.
Okay.
Leaches all the nutrients out of it. But
for
for making
bread, it's good.
Yes, it's good. So don't use distilled or soft water.
Okay. You want
Because it'll make your dough slack and sticky and
Yes.
stuff.
Now, was there before we start making the bread, is there any other principle beside water and flour? Anything else we need to remember? Or are those the two main principles?
Those are the two main that we're going to talk about. Also, the water controls the temperature of your dough. That's very important.
Yes.
In the summertime, I'm putting ice in my bread dough.
Wow, okay.
Because the end product after the mixer, I want it to be about 85 degrees.
Right. And if it's too hot in the area where you're rising it or something.
Right. If it gets too warm, then things are going to ferment too fast, and I won't have that good fermentation flavor that we come to associate with good baked breads. So in the summertime, I use ice water. In the wintertime, I'll use hot water.
Good.
Like now, because it's a little cooler now in Illinois, I'll put in a little bit of warm water and not cold water.
Yes. Okay, show us how to make this bread here.
Okay, let's go. I'm going to take this bowl off. Now, I use a KitchenAid. I use a mixer.
Right, okay. Because we don't know what mixer you have at home, you just use whatever mixer you got at home.
Right.
Or you can use it the old-fashioned way and knead if you have to, too, right?
Exactly.
That's right.
In
That's
fact,
what I do at home.
I've met plenty of good bakers that never use a mixer.
Okay.
And so I use it because it's very difficult for me to make 100 loaves at a time without a mixer.
Yes, okay.
And
Right.
they do make me a little weak. Can you hand me a spatula there?
Sure. There you go.
And one of the things that I'm going to do here, and one of the problems that bakers have had in the past with whole wheat bread is it tends to be a little bit more dense
Yes.
than the other. I'm going to rinse this out with my water. So I use all of my applesauce in there.
Okay.
Now, one of the things that I want to talk to you this morning about is hydrating the flour properly. Because we are using the whole wheat, the reason why bakers have not liked using whole wheat flour in the past is because of its brand. It's very abrasive.
Okay.
It's like throwing 50 grit sandpaper into your dough.
That does not sound too good.
It's not
No,
good.
okay.
And so you tend to, especially if you're taking a recipe and you're converting it over to from a whole white wheat one, with
Right.
regular flour,
Right.
and you convert it over, you want to you want to soak the flour. And the reason why we're doing this, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this on, and I'm going to mix it just until it's homogeneous. And then when it gets mixed, I'm going to set it aside for about 2 hours.
Wow.
And what that does is the bran is very abrasive, and as fermentation is happening, it's cutting the little fine cells that are
brazen
in
or whatever.
the cells that are trying to fill up. If you can imagine a balloon.
Okay.
And the yeast is eating, and it's generating gas, and it's trying to fill up this balloon. If the bran goes by and slices a hole, now it has a hole that.
It's like trying to fill a balloon with hole in it.
Exactly.
With a hole in it. That
You'll
won't
get
work.
dizzy and pass out.
That's right.
And so, and your bread will look very flat.
Right.
And so what we're going to do is I'm going to turn this on. I hope everybody can still hear me. We're going to turn that on. We're just going to let it mix until everything is homogeneous.
Okay.
And when everything is homogeneous, we're going to let it just sit for 2 hours, and that's going to allow the bran to soak up the flour. Now, if you're taking another recipe and turning it over, you might see after a couple of hours.
Okay, but we don't have time to show you that either, and we've already done.
Now, and I have my dough knife here. This is my best friend in the bakery.
Okay.
And we're going to now divide this. Now, the initial proof is done. Now, after it mixes for about 10 minutes, we want to let it sit and let that yeast start to come alive. It's going to start to wake up.
Okay.
And now we're going to divide it into our finished weight.
All right.
And it's going to start the second proof, which is called the intermediate proof.
Okay. This is
makes
cool.
sense.
I'm
We
learning
have
a lot. That's
initial,
right. Initial,
and
intermediate,
and then a final.
and a final. Yeah, all right.
So we're going to make a couple of the bread here. Now, us bakers, we have a lot of fun in the bakery. First, we have a ball, and so that's what we need to do is we need to round this and put it into a ball. There's a couple of reasons why we're doing this. Is number one, if I started with something like this to make a loaf of bread, the weight and the mass is not evenly distributed. So it can be an ugly, non-symmetrical end product. So we don't want that. Number two, we have yeast zygotes in here that are just going crazy. Every 20 minutes, they're eating and they're reproducing themselves.
Okay.
So we have large colonies of mothers and fathers and grandparents and nieces and nephews, and they're all staying in one area.
Wow.
And so we don't want that. We want to move them around.
Distribute the family.
Yes. Move them around. So
All
like
right.
going from Massachusetts to Illinois.
That's right.
And we want to also, we have air bubbles in here. Can you see any of the air bubbles in here?
Oh, yeah, you can see it. Yeah.
Yeah. There's air bubbles there. And so we want to move those around. We want to take the big air bubbles, smash it, get a little aggressive.
Okay.
And so we want to move those air bubbles around.
All right.
And so that, you know, some people think that you have to have large holes in the middle to capture the butter and the jelly. And if that's who your customer is, that's what you need to do.
Okay.
But
But
if you
normally
don't,
you wouldn't. Right.
Normally.
Right.
Normally
Okay.
not.
Now what do we do? That would rise for how long for intermediate proof?
That'll rise for about it. You know, and that's the tough thing about baking.
Okay.
Is people like hard, fast rules that like you read off earlier. The recipes. You want a tablespoon of this and a cup of that. This is not so science. This is right here. We're into the art.
Okay.
And so it's difficult for me to tell, and I even hesitate to say any minutes, but the intermediate proof is the shortest one. We just want it to relax.
Okay.
Usually about 10 to 20 minutes.
Okay.
Now, I'm also going to make maybe some little dinner rolls, just to show you the
That's fun. All right.
versatility of this. Now, I normally use a scale. I love my scale.
Okay.
It's my next best friend beyond my donut here.
Okay. Yeah, and then what do we do with these?
We're going to put these in balls, too, so that everything is even and concentric.
And move those families around.
Move the families, move the air bubbles around.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm just,
All right.
between my hand and my thumb, we're just making a little ball there.
All right.
We
Boy,
can do
that
it.
looks neat.
We can do it like the other one, too, but it just takes too long to, how I did that one.
Okay, show that. Okay, so then after this, then they rise for a few minutes. They just kind of settle a while, and then we put them in the pans?
Correct. Then we want to put it into our final shape.
Okay.
And then
show us how to do that.
Do it into the final proof.
It's okay. We don't have time for that.
Okay.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, so now, here again, we can work out some aggression.
Okay, you kind of beat out those bubbles, some of them.
Again, that's what we're doing. We're moving the yeast zygotes around, and we're making the air bubbles go around. And then we're going to start to roll it out.
Okay.
And then with the heel of my hand, I'm going to hit it and then roll it.
Ah, I like it.
And then we hit it. And now I'm going to bring the ears in.
Yes.
Give it one more.
Okay.
And then roll it over like this.
Oh, that that looks professional.
And there's a loaf of bread right there. Now
Beautiful.
We need to put it in a pan.
You got your pan, all
now
right.
we have a glass pan. Now these pans take a little shorter of amount of time to bake in.
Okay. You
need
just
to
spray
make
it with
sure
some non-stick cooking spray
Correct.
there.
I'll put that in there, just like a baby in the cradle, and
how
put
long?
it in a warm place
Okay.
to rise, and
85
preferably
or?
covered it. The final dough temperature when it comes out should be about 85, but right now if it goes into 90 degrees, that's okay, and you don't want it to dry out.
Okay.
So you want to keep it moist.
Cover.
So put a towel, damp towel or something like that over it.
How long does it rise for?
This
I shouldn't ask, right? This is art, right?
This is the art, but until about doubles in size. This can go anywhere from about 20 to about 35 minutes.
Okay.
Depends. If you have a cold kitchen, it's going to take longer. If you have a warm kitchen, if you're down in Florida or Africa, it's going to take a shorter amount.
Right. Okay. And what's it bake at in the
About 350 degrees. The bigger the product, the longer it takes to bake.
Okay.
So this will take about 40 to 45 minutes.
Okay.
But in a glass dish, it may take about 5 or 10 minutes less.
Okay. Okay. And what about the rolls? How long would they bake for?
Because
at
there's
350 as well, or?
Yeah, at 350, but because they're smaller, only about 20 to 30 minutes. Depends on how many you put on the pan.
Right. Right.
Now, you can put these on the pan just like this.
Okay.
Or you can stick them in water and then stick them in seeds.
Ooh,
or
that sounds good.
you can roll them out like this, like a little tiny baguette.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And then you can like tie them in a knot and put it
Oh, that's
just like
cute.
that.
That's very
Or
cute.
one more, and then we probably need to move on. We'll do this thing again.
Okay, so you roll it out again like that.
Yeah, I'm going a little
like
fast, and it's resisting me because it hasn't had time to
Right.
sit, but that's okay.
Right. Okay.
And then we pick it up in half, and then we're going to spin it,
Oh, I love that.
and then we're going to turn it like this and just tuck it underneath. And then you have
it's braided.
it's
Almost.
braided. Almost.
It's very cute.
So this is my preference.
Is that your
right
preference?
there.
Okay. Well, let's grab that bread here. And we want to show you guys what it looks like.
Okay.
We made all kinds of different breads to bring to show us. So I'm real excited. You got room there?
Yes.
Okay. Whoa! That's gorgeous, Rob. Boy, doesn't that look good.
Well, we have several different types of bread here.
Yeah.
We have the dinner rolls that you saw us make, and then we have a whole wheat. We have squirrely bread, not because there's a squirrel in it, but because we think a squirrel would like it. It has 4 different seeds: sesame seeds, sunflower seeds, poppy seeds, and flax seed.
Oh, flax.
Yes.
Very good.
And then we have some French bread that, with just a little bit deviation, you can make with the recipe already given.
Yes.
And
wow.
so just all kinds of bread. And it costs about 40 cents a loaf.
Does it really? To make your own bread cost 40 cents
To
a
make
loaf?
about 40 cents.
Wow. That's cheap. Very economical. That's
Very
a better word.
economical.
Yeah, that's right. Wow, very nice. Boy, it looks good. We can leave it there. That's fine.
Okay.
We're going to read our next recipe.
Okay.
We're going to make pizza, right?
Making pizza.
Yeah, good. You want to read that recipe for us, Rob?
Sure. We have 7 tablespoons of applesauce, 4 teaspoons of gluten vital wheat, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 1/4 cup unbleached flour, 2 cups of whole wheat flour, 2 1/4 cup water, 1 tablespoon of instant dried yeast.
All right, Rob, this recipe is almost the same as the bread we just made.
It is. The only exception is the oil that's in it, and we put 50% white flour in there to make it softer.
Right.
Yes. We like the young people can do whole wheat, but they also like the white flour in it too. So it softens it up while still maintaining the nutrition. And when I use white flour, I use unbleached white flour.
Okay.
So it still does have some of the nutrients in it.
Right. Okay. It's not the bleach to make it white.
Right.
Okay. It's healthier for you.
Exactly. Now we did already mix this one just to save time. And the oil in there, in the first recipe, it had applesauce, and that replaced the oil.
Right.
And oil, what it does is it makes the dough not as crumbly. And so when you put applesauce in it, it has some of the same properties, not exactly, but you can replace it 1-to-1. So if it says a 1/2 cup in your recipe or a 1 cup, you can just replace it 1-for-1.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Good. And just a refresher course for me, and maybe some of you need this too, we're not going to make it here, but refresh us again. We mix the flour
and the
liquid,
right.
and then we mix it, and then we set for 2 hours.
We let it sit for 2 hours.
Okay.
And then we mix this for about 10 minutes, and you can tell when it's done by taking a little pinch off of it. And what you want to do is get a gluten film. Now, if this was 100% white flour, you could get it so thin that I could put it on my watch and I could tell you what time it is.
Oh, you can see through it.
Yeah, it almost becomes opaque.
Yes.
And so you can see the gluten film there. Can you see that? So that tells you that it's done, that the gluten is strong enough now to hold the CO2 as you're making it.
Okay.
But now we need to start making some pizza dough.
Yes.
And you know, in the finest traditions of making pizza dough, it has to be hand tossed.
And I have never done this. So.
Okay, so we're going to learn something new today. Okay, and this is also fun about baking is you get to make a mess and it's legal.
That's nice. I like that. Absolutely.
So first we, what are we doing? We're getting the air out.
Yes,
moving
right.
around the yeast cycle.
Moving around the families.
Moving around the families. I need a little
I can
rolling
understand
pin
that.
here.
Okay.
They have a pizza seminar. You know, every vocation has a seminar somewhere. And in Las Vegas every year they have the pizza seminar. And they have Pizza Olympics where they have pizza throwing contests. I've never entered that, but they're pretty good. I don't think I'm that good.
Yeah, that's
We get it just about where we want it. And now, through centrifugal force, we are going to throw this and make it bigger. And that will automatically make the crust thicker and the middle thinner.
Okay. I'm getting nervous already, you guys.
So make sure your ceilings are clean, just in case. So what we're going to do is we're just going to throw this now. Key, Jill.
Yes.
Don't use your fingers. Your fingers go through. It has to be on your fist.
Okay.
So I'm holding it like this.
Okay.
I have to have lots of flour on it. Now this hand, my left hand, is going to twirl it, and this one is going to just throw it up.
Okay.
Are we ready?
I think so. I'm ready.
We got a pretty high ceiling.
We do. We could go a long ways, you guys.
Okay, so let's go.
Cool.
So you just want to twirl it so that it gets bigger.
Oh, man. I so do not think I could do that.
Now, out in Las Vegas, they do two at one time.
Now, how can you do that with two at one time?
I don't know. I haven't figured that one out. Okay, so
amazing.
we'll get our pizza
What do you need?
a screen.
Okay.
And this helps it to bake faster.
Oh,
So we're going to lay this down here.
Okay.
And we're going to lay this on top.
Cool.
Now, this also happens to be a good recipe for pita bread. You could also make pita bread.
I like that. Now, how do you get the pocket in the pita bread?
Well, you don't dock it. We're about to dock it with that fork right over there.
Okay.
And what this is going to do is going to seal the top to the bottom just by poking holes in it. And this prevents the blisters. You know, in pita pocket, it's just one big, huge blister. So in order to make a pita pocket with this, you would get a stone. You can actually buy these stones. You can put them in your oven.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
And then you would put this right directly on there. And that hot surface would cause this thing to blister right up and become a big ball. And then you bring it out, you cut it. You have to be careful because the steam in there would burn you quick. So we don't want that, though. We want pizza.
Right.
So
very nice. Now, you teach this to your students there.
yes.
Yeah.
They all have to be able to hand toss before they go.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It's one of the funner aspects of the class.
Oh, that's exciting. And you brought an alumnus from the program there. He's going to be on the program in a few minutes.
Yes. Yes. Nick is with us today, and he's going to work with us on our next one. So that is the pizza.
How long does it bake? What temperature?
There's a couple of things that you can do here. And one thing that I like to do is cook on Sunday and then have it ready in the freezer.
I'm all about that, absolutely.
So what we could do is we could put this in, and all we want to do is just kill the yeast. We're going to let it rise for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then we're going to, I'm sorry, not 2 or 3 minutes, about 10 or 15 minutes. Then put it into the oven, and all we want to do is kill the yeast. We don't want to brown it. We don't want to let it get any color. All we want to do is kill the yeast, because every time you put it into the oven, every time you put it in the freezer, you take out moisture.
Yes.
So we want to just minimally bake it, just enough to kill the yeast, and then we take it out, let it cool for a little bit, put it into the freezer. You can decorate it just like this, and kids love this.
Oh, yeah. That's
and you can and adults love this too. I mean, you can get make a nice cream of broccoli soup or cream of asparagus. Put yourself a little crust on here like this.
I like that.
And then pour that in there. Make yourself a little vegan Parmesan cheese. Sprinkle that on top. Bake it for about 20 minutes. Done.
That sounds good. Oh, that sounds good. Can I try one of these pizzas?
Yeah.
To toss?
I gotta
try this.
Roll one out for you.
Okay.
Get it ready. Get out a little aggressions here.
Okay. I'm not even sure I want to try it, but it looks fun. Yeah.
I think it is fun. I think it's going to be
Very
funner
nice.
for me than it is for you.
I have a feeling so.
All right.
Maybe funner for you guys at home, too.
Okay.
That's pretty cool. Now, you go out and do cooking schools as well? Rob?
We go all over New England
Wow.
and New York, and we
Okay.
do cooking schools.
Okay.
And in
Very
fact,
neat.
I'm
what do we
holding one. I'm looking for another peel for
Oh, okay.
Okay, that is ready
Do I
for
need
you two.
more in my hand?
Yeah, I think I have enough there.
You got enough?
Okay,
I'm
now,
nervous.
on your fist.
On my fist. Like this?
Yeah, and this hand turns this way.
Whoa!
You didn't really turn.
I
You just
didn't
threw
turn.
up. It just went up. So you need to.
Like that?
Yeah, it actually got bigger.
Whoa.
But you need to get a little more height, I think.
Whoa! This is not
this
very
at the
good, you
same
guys.
time.
Okay, then the pressure's off of me. Woo! I think I don't want to get that height in there. See, and I use my fingers.
Yeah, don't use your fingers, Jill.
I can't. Ah.
Okay, here, I got one. Okay.
Whoa, that
Yeah.
looks professional.
See,
Whoa.
this one is just spinning it. And
Spinning.
yours is...
Hey, how's that? Whoa. Whoops. It's getting a little bit. I can't keep my hand under that.
I think you're doing a good job.
Ah, look at that. It's getting easier.
Practice makes
Cool.
perfect. Well, we know what you're going to do this weekend, Jill.
That's right. I'll be spinning pizza doughs. Cool. Boy, that's
right.
fun.
Okay.
Mine doesn't look as good as yours, but anyways, it's
You
stretched
can
out a
stretch
bit.
it out. You can just
can stretch
stretch
it
it
out.
out
I
with
love
your fingers.
that.
But it doesn't taste the same if it's not hand
Right.
tossed.
Okay, that's right.
Okay.
Okay, now
All right.
we're going to show you what the pizzas look like with the toppings. We're not going to put them on now, but we'll just show you
Okay.
what they look like. Here's one you did. Oh, this looks good, Rob.
Now
I'll
that
just
is
put
a
it down.
par-baked dough. It is
Okay.
not finished all the way. What I did is I just par-baked it,
Uh-huh.
and then I froze it, and then we put on the toppings, and this still has to be baked. So we'll just put it in the oven today, and it's fresh baked today, even though I made that crust yesterday.
Okay, and then we're going to eat it, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And then this one does not have the cheese on it, correct?
There you go.
Yeah, so you can do it either way.
You can do it either way.
Yeah, whatever you like. Oh,
So we're ready to
good.
go.
Boy, it looks good, doesn't it, with all the toppings?
I'm
Very
ready to get
nice.
a fork. I want to use that fork and eat it.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. We're going to make danishes, right?
Danishes.
Let's read that recipe for
Okay.
danishes. For the danishes, you need 1 1/3 cup water, 1 tablespoon yeast, 1/2 teaspoon salt, 2 cups white flour, 2 cups whole wheat flour, 1/3 cup Florida crystals, and 1/4 cup oil. Well, I'm real excited, Rob, to learn how to make a Danish.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's what we've come here to do.
That seems pretty exotic to me. Yeah.
Well, it's pretty easy. The difference between here is this is a little sweeter. We added some Florida crystals. You can
Right.
also get sucanette. We try to stay away from the refined product
Yes.
as much
okay.
as possible.
Okay.
So Florida crystals has some more of the trace elements and minerals and stuff that God put in there. We try not to take those out. So that's the big difference. And there is a little bit of oil in there, as you read
Okay.
off,
Okay,
and
right.
a little bit of white flour to make it a little softer as well.
Yes, right. And we did the same process with this, right? We mixed the flour in the water and let it set for 2 hours.
Exactly.
And then we added the yeast and all the other stuff and then
Exactly.
mixed it for 10 minutes. We did the hard work for you guys.
Right.
It's kind of nice, yeah.
So we're about ready to roll this out, but before we do that, we need to get some filling made.
That's right. For the filling here, we're going to invite Nick to come. And Nick is an alumnus of the Vegan Culinary School there at AUC.
That's right.
Yeah, so I'm excited. He's going to be on the program with us here. Why don't you come on, Nick? Now, you came down from Berrien Springs, Michigan, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, and when did you graduate from the program there?
About a year ago.
A year ago, okay. And your name is Nick?
Rayner.
Rayner, okay. Very good. Now, tell me what you liked about the program.
I've always enjoyed cooking and learning some of the finer points of cooking and baking
That's
was
awesome.
really good for me.
That's good.
It taught me to be a little bit more creative
Yeah, that's
in the
cool.
presentation of food,
That's
how
awesome.
important that is.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, well, show us how to make this this filling. First, we need to read a recipe, don't we? Let's read the recipe first for this
Yes.
filling. You want to read that first, Rob?
Sure. That's 1 cup of water, a 1/2 cup of oil, 2 cups of tofu, 1 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 tablespoon of salt, and 3 tablespoons of white flour.
All right, good. Well, you got to step over here, right, to blend and show us how to do that, Nick. All right.
All right. First, we're going to start by putting everything except for the flour and the sugar in a blender.
Okay.
In a Vitamix.
That's pretty
That's
easy.
what
I
we
can handle that.
I didn't get a spatula.
A spatula, here you go.
Spatula.
There we
There
go.
you go.
See how much you get in the cup and not on the counter.
That's right. So this is just, is this water-packed tofu, or what type of tofu is this?
This is water packed.
Water-packed? Okay.
Ideally, it would be morinu because that's more creamy.
Which is a silken variant.
Correct, correct. So that would lend less of a flavor of the tofu, but we'll put it in lemon juice and things
Okay.
to help cut that flavor. But
Right.
silken would be the best.
All right, good. And we're just adding all those ingredients in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now you do lots of work in the, you think you do more in the program baking or more blending, more cutting, more, what do you think's the?
Me personally, I'm more of the baker. I like to do the bread and the artesian breads, and this
Yes.
for me is more of the pastry aspect.
Yeah?
And,
Well, that's
so
pretty
I
nice,
like
too.
the bread, and it
Yeah.
keeps me a slim trim.
That's right. Okay, we're going to make some noise.
Okay.
Okay, good. So what are we doing there? You were
We
saying-
wanted to make this nice and smooth so that we'll have a creamy filling.
Okay, that's important. You don't want lumpy filling in your danishes, huh?
And then we're going to come over here to the pot.
Okay. Now we're not adding the sugar then, Nick.
We're adding the sugar once we start to cook it.
Oh, now
sugar
that's a
gets
neat
cooked.
trick. Okay.
Oh, I almost gave you my flour.
Whoops.
That's a problem, huh?
That would be too much.
That would be way too much. My
There you go.
spatula.
There you go.
So we're just going to get this burner on.
I think it's the front one.
Yep.
The front one?
The front one there.
Oh, here.
There you go. Yeah,
There we go.
there you go.
Bring this over here.
I like gas because it just turns on like that.
It is.
That's the cook's best friend.
Yeah, there you go. And then you just put it in, and then what are we trying to do with it? Bring it to a boil, or what are you doing?
We bring it to a boil so that the flour will gelatinize.
Ah, so it's your thickening agent. Okay. Yeah.
So we want to get that in there.
And we don't add the sugar yet.
And we do.
Oh, we add the sugar now.
The sugar
Now
and the
we add
flour.
Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
They didn't all get in
You
there.
get all that in. You need it all. Now, this, were we using Florida crystals? What were we using?
Yes.
Okay.
We're using Florida crystals because of the, and there is a lot, this does have a lot of sugar, and
Yes.
you know, feel free after you've made it once to go ahead and cut back on the recipe a little bit on the sugar if it's too sweet for you.
Okay.
And you can adjust the lemon as well. But this makes a very good,
Very nice.
you know what I like about this recipe is there's a lot of our students who come to us and they're not vegans.
Yes.
And I'll go up to them frequently and say, so how do you like tofu?
Yeah.
And they'll say, oh, I don't like tofu
Icky, I don't
at
like
all.
it. It's
Yeah.
nasty, right?
And so I'll say, well, enjoy your Danish. And then I'll just walk away. And they don't know because
Right.
it's loaded with tofu, but it's,
Right. But it
it's a
tastes
nice
good.
Bavarian cream.
Yeah.
While he's doing that,
Yeah, show us what we're doing
what
here.
I'd like to do is go ahead and roll out the Danish. I need my dough knife.
Your dough knife.
It's probably, I got it.
You got it?
And we're going to
Okay.
put down a little bit of flour.
Okay.
Isn't this fun?
It is, I know.
Again, we're going to flatten it out, moving those colonies around, breaking
That's right.
up those big
The
air
families.
bubbles, making them smaller.
That's
Now,
right.
this one we want pretty thin. Now, we're not going to be able to throw this one around.
Oh, I was just getting into that throwing thing.
Yeah. This is going to be a little bit thinner, and even on your
Okay.
fist, you'd probably rip a hole in.
Okay, yeah.
So the yeast has been actively working as we've been sitting here and talking.
Right.
It's been eating sugar.
Ooh.
It gets that sugar.
Okay.
You know, in that first recipe, in the whole wheat recipe, there was no sugar. But the starch in the wheat turns into a simple sugar called glucose,
Okay.
and that is enough to feed it. Now,
Okay.
why we would add sugar is for taste,
Oh, yeah. There you
and
go.
so that it browns. It does also give you more volume,
Yeah.
and it does a lot of things. It holds on to moisture.
Yeah.
We want to try to keep this as square as possible, too, and I don't want it to
Okay.
stick
Yes.
to the table.
Yes, all right.
So I keep on just I throw it on that
Moving
flour
it.
to
Uh-huh.
so
Getting
that
more
the
flour under it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if it sticks, then when we try to pick it up, it'll
Yes.
distort the shape.
Yes.
See, it's sticking there.
It is. Boy, this is a problem.
Okay. You go.
Okay, very nice.
So we'll just keep on getting this thin. Now, I'd say this is probably between 1/4 and 1/16 of
Okay.
an inch thick.
Okay.
So it's rather thin.
Yes.
Now,
Now what do we do?
we're going to kind of we're going to make sure it's not sticking, which it is
Okay.
a little bit.
Okay.
And then
That's pretty cool. I can't wait to eat these. I'm excited about this.
people like this the most. Now we're going to get out our, this is not one of my best friends, but for danishes, I pull it out. And a pizza cutter.
Oh, there you
We'll
go.
be using
All
later.
right.
Now what I do is I make this 5 by 5. So what I'll
Okay.
do is I'll just in increments of 5, 5, 10, 15,
Okay.
and then I'm going to do this again going this way.
Cool. And you
5,
clean this too, so you don't have to worry at home.
15.
Yeah. All right.
So we're going to
So
now-
why are we doing increments of 5?
if you want it bigger, then you just want a square.
I understand.
So
Yeah.
we're making little square pieces of dough.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good.
So now,
Are you thickening, Nick? Is it thickening over
It's
It's trying.
it's
Yep.
starting to.
Okay. All right. The tofu was cold. That takes a long time to thicken then. Yeah.
we're just making.
Oh, yeah, they are perfect squares. I like that. Very
Okay, so
good.
now
This
we
is
have
fun.
the squares. Now, in addition to putting in the filling,
Uh-huh.
we're going to put in some fruit. And it's fun with the fruit because then it adds a dimension of color. So you can add
Yes.
all kinds of different colors.
Yes.
Peaches, strawberries, blueberries.
That sounds
Delicious.
good. Yeah. Well, we're going to read that recipe while you finish stirring here. We're going to read that recipe
Good.
for the fruit filling to put in this. For the Danish fruit filling, you need 3 cups blueberries, 1 cup pineapple juice, 1/3 cup water, and 2 tablespoons cornstarch. All right, we have our Danish filling all done. Yeah, it's nice and thick. You can see that. I like that. And then you have the fruit sauce over
We
here.
have the fruit. And so this is basically just fruit and a little bit of pineapple juice to sweeten it naturally. And then we put in a little bit of Florida crystals and cornstarch to thicken it up. Now we just need to put all these components together and
Oh,
make a delicious
fun.
dessert.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, so what we're going to do is put this over here. Now we don't need that whisk anymore. And maybe, Jill, you can just put like
Oh, sure.
a tablespoon of that right in the middle.
Okay.
And then,
That's good.
Nick, if you could follow up with the blueberry. And then I'll follow up with the strawberry. So one will be blueberry, one will be strawberry. That way you have the different color contrast because it makes it so much prettier that way.
Oh, it looks nice. This reminds me of baking with my grandma.
Everybody loves danishes.
Yeah. And I like this because it's a healthy alternative here. Am I putting enough or too much?
I think you're putting it just the right amount. You
Well.
can't put too much and then it'll bake out.
Okay, right. Boy,
So-
that looks good.
Yeah, they are kind of laborious to make. I don't like to make
Right.
these too much because if you have 300 students and everybody wants 3,
Right.
then it really adds up as far as the time. Because this
Yes.
is all hand done, and so it gets
Ooh,
kind of laborious.
Yes. Boy, it looks good. Just the fruit itself looks so good to me. I love fruit. My husband, Greg, really loves fruit, so I'll have to bring him some. He'd really like that.
You would. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to pull up the 4 corners, the opposite corners,
Oh, okay.
and we're going to then pinch it just underneath the top. is
Oh,
what
so
we're
you
gonna
don't pinch the end?
do. No.
No, why is that?
Because you're about to see it's sticking.
Okay.
My hands are too wet, so now it's sticking to my hands.
Oh.
Now we're going to pull it apart a little bit, like petals of a flower.
Oh, pretty.
So that's how you do it.
I
Okay.
love it.
So now it's your turn. I'm the instructor. You're the.
And you're a graduate, so I'm at a disadvantage here.
Okay, but we can all do it together.
I pull this up here, right?
Yes. Bring them
Okay.
together.
And then this side.
We're in mass production right now.
Absolutely. Oh, very fun. And then I pinch it beneath.
Beneath.
Oh, boy.
If your hands are a little
sticking.
too sticky, mine's are a little too sticky too. But if you get too much flour on your hands,
Then it won't stick
then
together.
it won't
probably,
stick at
right?
all. So it's a fine line.
Boy, I'm slow at this. How's that?
That's beautiful.
Is that
looks like
acceptable?
a master.
I don't think
Our
so.
dough is sticking a little bit to the table. So,
Yep.
Okay.
and that will distort it.
Right, yeah.
So I'm trying to remove it. Is yours sticking there?
A little bit.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Having
here you-
problems. Now, you have students helping you in the calf there?
Yes.
At the college?
Yes.
Okay.
We have culinary students helping us, and then we have
fine.
student help that
Yeah.
helps as well.
Yeah, that's all. So they get practical training when they go through the program.
Exactly.
I like that.
That's very
Ron.
important.
Yeah, that's right.
So then we will,
Okay.
let me get this
Woo!
pan out.
They're so cute. I love that.
They bake up very nice.
Yeah.
And this one, because it's stuck to the table, it swells out, and that one will really swell. Everybody will want that one.
Oh, yeah, because it'll look really good.
It has the most filling. in it.
Yes.
So now we want to,
Gingerly
Pick
get them
these
off.
up.
Oh, it came off pretty good.
that's why that's my friend.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
it.
I dropped
That's a good friend. So you've already sprayed this cookie sheet.
It is. It's been sprayed just
Okay.
lightly. You don't want to use too much.
Okay. And what do we bake it at?
These will be baked at about, 350 degrees for about 25 to 35
Okay.
minutes. It depends on your oven.
you
You
go.
know, I don't like to put hard things hard and fast.
This is an art.
This
said,
is an
right?
art. And so what you want them to be, Jill, is just lightly browned a little bit on the top, and make sure that it's consistent around. So when it's lightly brown on the top, that the bottom would be the same way underneath.
Okay, yes.
So,
right.
you wanna
we
show
have
'em
some.
what it looks like?
You guys got to see these. I have been waiting the whole program to eat these. Ooh, boy, that looks good.
Yeah, so we have the strawberry and the blueberry inside there, and you can see the color. So you want
I'm gonna
about
try
that
one.
color.
Can I
there
try
you go.
one?
Yes.
Boy, they look good.
Wow.
What's it like?
I could eat the whole thing.
There you go.
That's
okay.
awesome.
Very good. So that's what we do there at Atlantic Union College. We have a philosophy. You know, in most culinary schools, you just go ahead and enjoy.
I am.
I think the stresses are that it looks good and it tastes good. At Atlantic Union College, we stress that it needs to not only look good and taste good, like Nick alluded to. We want it to have good presentation, but it also needs to be medicinal, and it needs to be nutritional, because those 4 factors is what God wants us to have in our food.
Right.
And so if Nick opened up his own place up there in Berrien Springs,
Right.
and somebody came in and said, I have an infection, Nick has the knowledge that he can say, well, let me whip up a cranberry smoothie for you with a little bit of kiwi in it, and it fixes for what ails her.
Yes.
A lot of people have a negative connotation for medicinal. And so they think, well,
Right.
that's castor oil or something that I have to choke down. No.
Something that's horrible.
This
right?
is healthy because it has whole wheat in it. It has the protein. It does have a lot of Florida crystals in it.
Right.
So we have to watch our
moderation.
Right.
Absolutely.
So, but we can have food and eat it without guilt.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be
Yes.
something we choke down because it's good for us.
And you know what I like about it too, Rob? You're talking about medicinal, is that we're not just saying, okay, take a pill. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, well, you need this pill or you need this or that. But the foods that we eat make us healthier. Because I think that's the way God intended it, the way He created us.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
And so,
Very nice. Give us a quick rundown of, say, the classes you got there going on.
okay, we have quantitative food prep 1 and 2. We have vegan, vegetarian, nutritional, the nutritional standards. We have that taught by a registered nurse. We also have a raw class that we do. We also have, trying to think, my eyes kind of roll when I think.
What's in the raw class?
It's
mean,
just
like how to
everything
make
raw.
salad?
Yes. Not only salad, but you can make a lasagna that way, and you can make spaghetti that way. You can make
okay.
potato chips that way, fruit roll-ups and things. You can use a dehydrator when you're using raw foods, and so you can bring it up to a heat not to exceed like 110 degrees.
Yeah.
And so it's very delicious, the things that you learn in that. Also, you have sanitation. We want you to be a serve safe manager when you get done.
That's very important, the health aspect of all of these things.
Exactly.
Yes,
And then
that's right.
culinary math is another thing that they learn, how to convert grams over into ounces and then into pounds and cups and tablespoons and things. Restaurant law, I believe, is another one that we teach. That's all in the one-year certificate program. Eventually, we'd like to add on, make it a 2-year program. Maybe do a cooking in the bush or something where they make their own adobo oven or something, pulling up clay by the river.
That sounds kind of fun. Yeah.
So we want the students to come away from there having the skills to do missionary work, or work in hospitals or schools or institutions like that, or be able to start up their own catering industry or a restaurant, or be able to make a significant positive influx to the bottom line of any restaurant.
That's right. That's what's so important. That's right. Well, I'm excited. We had a really good time, both of you. Thank you for coming and for sharing what you've learned through the program and demonstrating this recipe for us. That was really good. And thank you too, Rob. We had such a good time. I learned so many tips about baking and stuff.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
And we hope you friends had just as much fun watching this program and writing down all those recipes as we did. And I know I learned a lot of things. I hope you did too. And we're sure you'd like to contact Rob. You'd like him to come to a cooking school or something in your area. Maybe you're interested in the vegan culinary program there at Atlantic Union College. I know I'm real interested in that. Not for me to go, but it sounds very interesting. If I were younger, I'd like it. But here's the information that you need to contact them for yourself.
If you are interested in inviting Rob to your cooking school, or if you'd like to know more about AUC's vegan culinary program, then you can write to Atlantic Union College, 338 Main Street, South Lancaster, Massachusetts, 01561. That's Atlantic Union College, 338 Main Street, South Lancaster, Massachusetts, 01561. Or you can email him at rob.beaton@auc.edu. That's rob.beaton@auc.edu. Contact him today and eat better tomorrow.
Hola, les habla Teresa Bonilla. Hoy quiero hablarles de la tremenda oportunidad para evangelizar que Dios tiene para cada uno de los que están mirando o escuchando. ¿Qué es evangelismo? En forma sencilla, es simplemente medios por los cuales presentamos a Jesús al mundo que nos rodea. Verdaderamente creemos que Dios ha encomendado a 3AB en inglés, 3AB en latino, 3AB en radio, 3AB en libros, 3AB en música, la tarea de pregonar las buenas nuevas de salvación a todo el mundo, en la mayor cantidad de idiomas posible. Y usted que me escucha en este momento puede hacer uso de este ministerio para hacer evangelismo en su comunidad. Claro, usted estará preguntándose, ¿cómo puedo usar a 3AB en latino para hablarle a mi comunidad acerca del amor de Dios? La respuesta es de las siguientes maneras. 3AB en Libros ha producido material bíblico en el cual usted puede adquirir y distribuir en su comunidad. Entre ellos se encuentran los siguientes libros: Los 10 mandamientos 2 veces eliminados, El mandamiento olvidado, Ama a Dios a los pecadores para siempre, ¿Se puede comer de todo?, etc. Cada uno de estos temas están basados en enseñanzas bíblicas y ayudarán al lector a descubrir lo que la Biblia nos dice acerca de estas cosas. Tal vez usted diga, las personas a quienes conozco no les gusta leer. No hay problema. Elija un programa o invite a su amigo o amiga a verlo junto, así pueden aprender acerca del amor de Dios. Si no pueden mirar el programa con usted debido a que tiene otros compromisos, grabe el programa. Busque una hora que sea conveniente para ambos y véanlo juntos. Nuestra programación abarca a toda la familia con programas para niños, jóvenes, adultos, series evangelísticas y cocina vegetariana. Esto quiere decir que hay algo para todos. Por cierto, si le dicen, mi tiempo está muy limitado y casi no veo televisión y menos leo libros, entonces regálele un disco compacto con canciones producidas por 3AB en Música y dígale que lo escuche cuando vaya manejando su automóvil, durante la cena o al acostarse. Como pueden ver, hay algo para todos, así que ahora queda de su parte usar a 3ABN para hacer evangelismo en su comunidad. Si el Espíritu Santo les impresiona apoyar a este ministerio de 3ABN Latino, por favor envíenos sus donativos deducibles de impuestos a 3ABN Latino, P.O. Box 220, West Frankfort, Illinois 62896, o pueden llamarnos al 1-800-752-3226. o al 618-627-4651. También pueden donar a través de nuestra página web segura en 3abnlatino.org. Gracias por todo lo que hacen por su ministerio. Que Dios los continúe bendiciendo grandemente y recuerden de mirar la programación de 3ABN Latino.
Welcome back, friends. We're here with our delicious spread of baked goods that we made today, aren't we, Rob?
Yes, we are. We have it all today. We have whole wheat, we have squirrely, we even have some olive rosemary tucked on.
Yeah, let's look at our bread here.
Yes.
You had the squirrely, you were saying, on the top, and the olive rosemary is underneath? Mm-hmm. Ooh.
So once you understand the principles, you can do anything that your imagination can tell you to do.
Yes. I'm anxious to try this, too. The French bread. That looks awesome.
Very good.
Yeah, let's look at the pizzas.
The pizzas are delicious. Again, we've done whole wheat. We did mix a little bit of unbleached white flour with that. And then, again, the toppings on there is anything that...
your heart desires.
Your heart desires. Sometimes you can even get rid of leftovers out of the kitchen on that
There
pizza.
you go. And our danishes were the last one here.
The danishes, also made with whole wheat flour, about 50%. Have tofu in the middle.
Oh, that's
very
so
sweet.
good.
People will come from miles around to get your danishes once you start making those. Start a tradition
That's
with
right.
danishes.
Thank you for coming, Rob, and
Okay.
sharing your talents with our friends at home. We had such a good time.
Yes, I did too. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. Well, we hope that you enjoyed these recipes. Take them to your home and your heart. Share them with your friends. And we will see you next time. God bless you.